Hey everybody, I am coming making this video message, and I want to let you know that you have to stop putting stipulations on love. Love is not how you feel. Love is actually an action. It is what you do, because people can tell you that they love you and they lie about it all the time. I don't know why I am here today, and I was led to really press on this topic. But a lot of people in the world we live in now, they put a lot of stipulations and protocol on love or loving you. But I'm here to let you know that love is not this fantasy that you have in your brain. Love is not perfection. Love is not you will never make a mistake. Love is not you will never fail. Love is not you will never make someone that you love angry. Love is not always pretty. And so today, if there are any one of you, you have idealized, or you have an idea of who someone is that you say you love, but you really don't love them in the good times as well as the bad, or even the messy, ugly times, you've now got to question how your heart is set up. You've now got to question, do you really appropriately know how to love someone? You in life are going to come across all types of people. You are going to come across people that don't walk like you. They don't talk like you. They don't act like you. They don't think like you. They are not you. But are you still capable of loving them? Are you still capable of actually respecting somebody, knowing that they are the complete polar opposite of who you are, and knowing that they came from the complete polar opposite of where you came from? Can you stand in the face of someone who is beaten down with hate, with bitterness, with jealousy, and the fact that they probably don't even love themselves? Are you able to stand in the midst of that and still have the action of love? Newsflash, love is not about how you feel. And I'm saying this to you all, and I touched on in my community post that I wrote for you guys a few hours ago. I touched on emotions, because emotions are deceptive. Emotions will have you doing things randomly. Emotions will have you going back to people, places, and things that you ought not to go back to. Emotions will have you thinking that you made a mistake when you made a particular decision to cut somebody off, to move away from somewhere, to quit a certain job, or to start to change a very nasty, bad habit that you have. And so, with emotions, because they are deceptive sometimes, because they are random, because our emotions go up and down, this still should not dictate your love for someone. Even in the single community, we hear a lot of men and women in the space of singleness. They will put all these stipulations on what a man has to have in order for a woman to date them. Men will talk about all the things that a woman needs to have, or all the things a woman needs to do in order for her to be valuable enough to him to date her. But outside of all the things that we put stipulations on, this person got to be this weight, this person has to be this height, this person has to have accomplished all of these things. How can you sit back and say, well, I got the man? Ladies, you got the man that was tall. You got the man that looked the way you wanted him to look. You got the man that was educated. You got the man that has the money. You got the man that has the body. But can you imagine the life of misery you would live if you came to the realization that that man really does not love you? In your process of marriage or relationship with that man, you start to find out, this man really does not love me. This man does not care about me. This man does not care about my safety. This man does not care about what I'm trying to accomplish in my life. This man wants me to chase behind him. This man wants me to follow behind him, listen to everything he says. This man wants me to worship him. But when I try to speak, he feels like I don't have an opinion. What is the actions of the person who's claiming that they love you? What are the stipulations somebody is putting on loving you? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we cannot have a preference. I'm not saying that we cannot say, you know what, I would prefer this type of person. I would prefer this person to have this, because when I mess with somebody that did not have that particular thing, it costs me a lot. Okay, I get it. So I'm not speaking against that. I have a preference. So you don't have to apologize for having a preference. But what I'm saying is that we've got to be careful. And I'm talking about all of us in this world and in this society. We've got to be careful putting so many stipulations and do's and don'ts on plain love, because love is also inconvenient sometimes. You ever fell in love with somebody, or you began to really deeply care about somebody, and it came at the wrong time in your life? It caught you off guard. It did something to your heart that you were not expecting, that you were not anticipating, and that you were not banking on. And it caused you to rethink what's in your heart, where your mind was. It caused you to change and shift some things about your character. This is what I love about God, because where us as humans, we will try to jump ahead of God, we will rush to do certain things, God will always put you in a situation to actually slow you down. And you will be forced to, I should say, work on your character. This is what begins to happen in a game of love. And it's not just romantically. You can be in the face of certain family members. You could be in the face of certain friends, and the same thing happens. You are uncomfortable being around them. They have a nasty spirit connected to them, but you are forced to change something about your character and how you deal with them and how you handle them, because love, again, is an action. Why has society got so disgusting? I mean, it's just a heavy progression of it, where you have all these stipulations on love. I talked about this before a couple of years ago, I believe. But I'm updating this message because there are a lot of you all who are new here. Stop with the stipulations. Stop saying that in order for you to love somebody, they have to look a certain way. Have your preference, but you're not always going to get that preference. You're not always going to get that preference because, again, love is an action. And sometimes people have gotten a very hurtful, bitter, rude awakening because they put all these stipulations on a certain person and they pursued somebody that checked off all the things they put on their little list, as far as the height, the weight, the skin color, the educational level, the financial level, and they found out the person really did not love them. They found out the person did not care about their overall well-being. People get left every day. Sis, people get left every day, bro. People walk away from people that they chased and pursued to no end, all to find out when things started getting heated, when things started getting tough, when things started falling apart, that person jumped ship. And then you know what they do? These calibers of people, they go and they chase the same type of person again. When you look at certain people who cannot stay in a relationship, they're always remarried. They're always walking around with a new boyfriend. They're always walking around with a new girlfriend. And it's short-lived. They'll be with them for 3 months. They'll be with them for 5 months. They'll be with them for 6 to 8 months. They'll be with the person for 1 and 2 years. And then you run into them again. They have a whole other new relationship. And it gets to the point you can't even keep up with it no more. These are the calibers of people that put stipulations on love. They say that they will not love you. They don't verbalize it, but they indirectly make statements saying the type of man that they want, saying the type of woman that they want. And I've seen people get that successful man. They will get that successful man that looks exactly how they want him to look. His body looks the way they want him to look. His body looks the way they want it to look. He has accomplished certain things and acquired certain things, but that man could care less about that woman. He did what he needed to do in the beginning so he can get between that woman's legs or move in her house or connect with her because he may have been struggling financially, but the woman was not, and vice versa. Women do this as well. They pursue a certain man knowing that they really, really don't love that man. They know, I'm going to love him up until he loses his job. I'm going to love him up until he gains weight. I'm going to love him up until he tells me no and does not let me have my way. Pay attention to it. There are no stipulations on love. This is why children, a lot of kids, they will betray their parents. They will disobey their parents. And then they will go to other people that they feel like can give them the things that their parents, for a good reason, is refusing to give them. And they will find out that, hey, I betrayed my mother, I betrayed my father, but I know my mom still loves me. See, the thing with love is that it shouldn't change or move or shake you in spite of what the other person or the other people do. I'm not saying be a fool. I'm not saying you stand in the face of evil. I'm not saying you stand in the face of abuse. I'm not saying you stay in the face of constant, repeated disrespect. That's not what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying is that if somebody messes up with you, say initially you all started off and you told them you loved them and you really meant it, in spite of who they are and in spite of what they do, if later down the line they come back to you and they apologize, if you can sit back and say, you know what, you did me wrong, you did me dirty, but you know what, now you have a need and I'm going to provide it. We're not going to talk about what you did in the past and what you said. You came to me for help. I'm about to help you. That is a great example of you not putting a stipulation on love. Or you told somebody you loved them, but something went on with them and it altered how they look. It altered how they look. It altered their way of thinking. Or you found out that they believed in something in particular that you didn't know initially when you all were in the courting stage. And so when you start to see their opinion on certain things, you get ticked off about that and you feel like, oh, I don't need to be connected with this person now. Can you still love them? Do you still display the action of love? Not your emotions, not how you feel, but you can still love them. And sometimes you can love people and dismiss yourself and remove yourself. But I'm saying overall, stop putting all these stipulations in the lanes of material or in the lanes of how somebody physically looks in order for you to be drawn to them. Because it's not always going to work like that. It's not always going to be this deal where you're definitely going to get the person that you want physically, or you're going to get the person that you want financially. Sometimes people have fallen for somebody that is the complete opposite of who they are. They didn't put stipulations on it. That's fake love. When you got to put stipulations on friends and on family members and you say, well, if these friends don't have this and that, if these friends aren't doing this or doing that. I remember I had a fake friend from years ago and she made a statement. I don't know if she was directing it towards me or if she was making it generally, but I took it as to she must have, I guess, been talking about me. But she said to me, this is over like 10 years ago. She made a statement to me and said, well, I don't want to hang with anybody or call anybody my friend that's not on nothing. That was how she said it. Because at that point in her life, she felt like she had accomplished all of these great things and she was at a certain pinnacle, but she was flawed. There were so many nasty, ugly things I knew about her and saw in her, but I never let it determine me being her friend. It never shook me. It never moved me to not want to be her friend. Now, when she kept coming to me, bringing up the past, we've been talking about that this week, and she kept trying to bring up things that went on in our childhood and things that I had said and things that I had done, I'm like, okay, why am I hanging around this girl? We are full grown, overgrown women, and this girl keeps talking about things that happened when we were in 3rd and 4th grade. Are you kidding me? I'm not about to keep dealing with that. I'm just not. And it was just something that went on for so long till eventually she actually left me alone. I actually didn't cut her off, but she actually did me a favor just walking away from me. So I didn't have to do anything. That's what I'm talking about. That's another great example. I never put a stipulation on being friends with any of my friends. I let wholeheartedly my friends be 100% who they are. I don't come to them. They know what deal breakers are for me. But even through that, I've still loved friends that have told lies on me. I've still loved friends that I knew struggled with jealousy. I've still loved friends that I knew were competitive. I still love friends who allow other people to badmouth me behind my back in these friends' faces, and they did nothing. Now, I've changed up a lot now because God has grown me up more spiritually. But what I'm saying is that the stipulations, I never put them there. And I don't believe that any of you all should do it. When it is the season for God to remove somebody from your life, it will happen. When it is the season for you to remove yourself from somebody, God will give you the go ahead and it will happen. But what I'm saying is that it's unfair to come into a situation with someone and you put all these stipulations on. Hey, listen, if you don't have this, and this, if you don't look like this, and this, I'm not going to be your friend. I'm not going to hang with you. I'm not going to love you. I'm not going to respect you. But then in the same breath, you say you love somebody when love is an action. What you do shows more about your heart and your character than what you actually say. And don't be fooled. Let me remind you of this before I get out of here. Even if you did put stipulations on and you heavily were adamant about your personal preferences pertaining to a certain person, that still does not guarantee that they will authentically, sincerely, and genuinely love you. You can have somebody that has all of that, has all of the money in the world, has the best looks. They stand out in the crowd, but they really don't love you. A lot of marriages are breaking up. A lot of friendships are breaking up. So many people are getting divorced. So many people are falling out with people because times are hard. The economy is changing. Things are changing. God is opening up the eyes of people, and they are now coming to the realization, this person really never loved me. This person cannot love me. When I was able to do certain things for them, when I looked a certain way, when they thought that I made it big, they were around me. But now that things are falling apart, and now that things are not going good, they are not supportive of me. They are ignoring me. They have ghosted me. They are avoiding me. So you know what? I'm done. You all better make sure that the people you're connected to and the people that are in your life, please make sure that they love you for real. And sometimes you don't even realize or find out that somebody really loves you until the bad times come. That's what's scary, because you can have somebody in your life for 5 and 10 and 20, 30, 40 plus years. And one situation kicks off and then you come to the realization like, wow, this person really does love me. But it's a sad state of affairs when you come to the realization that a certain friend, they really don't love you. They don't really love you wholeheartedly for who you are and where you are. They loved you up until you were in a hard, tight spot, or you needed more assistance from them, or you were changing, and how you were changing, however that looks for you, it just made them uncomfortable or it agitated them. Sometimes you go through a complete metamorphosis in your life, and the people who are around you, it is going to make them or break them. When God is really changing you and dealing with you, and you are not easy to love, you are not the most lovable person, there are people who will still stick with you and love you through it. But then there are some people, they say, oh, I give up. I've washed my hands of her. I've washed my hands of him. All these stipulations. And see, people will do this, but then when they go through something and you decide to jump ship or ghost them, or you act funny with them, they'll feel some type of way about that and get heavily offended. So again, there are no stipulations on love. How Jesus loves us is free. Salvation is free. We didn't do anything to deserve the actual constant love of Jesus Christ. But he loves us and all of our ugliness and all of our covenant breaking and all of our mess and all of even people who've turned their back on Christ. He still loves them. That's the video message. Well, guys, it's time for me to go because I have some other things to do. The Lord willing, I will be back with another video message. If any one of you have taken offense to anything I spoke about in this video message, it's okay. It's all right. I'm not worried about it. I am not concerned because I know you will forgive me in the morning.